I'm going to start with Hannah on the left here.
So hello everyone, I'm Hannah, I'm 23 years old and I'm currently an SEO executive at Reflect Digital. So I've recently graduated from De Montfort University in Advertising and Marketing Communications. It was a 4-year course, a year with a placement year, which I also did at Reflect Digital, so really beneficial for me that I could actually literally walk out of university and go straight back into a job. So yeah, that was really good for me.
Hi guys, my name's Russ. I'm here to speak to you from the University of Kent. I started at Kent back in 2006, got a degree in computer science and cybersecurity as a master's. My current role is as a recruitment officer for the university, so I'll go and speak to students all over the UK and also further afield as well. So last week I was in Cyprus, in Luxembourg, next week I'll be in Stockholm, in Sweden. So I speak to lots of students about the benefits of going to university and sorts of things they might be interested in terms of modules, in opportunities for year abroad, year in industry schemes as well.
Good morning, I'm Oliver Trailor, Managing Director of Runway Training. We're an apprenticeship provider working right across Kent and the South East, going into London. We work with very large companies like Holiday Extras or Medway Council down to small businesses, and we help place young people into apprenticeships, run those opportunities, including digital marketing. And another part of the work that I do is a lot of going out, talking to schools, talking to young people, getting them interested in apprenticeships, in enterprise, because I started the company aged 22 and have grown it ever since.
Hello, my name is Becky Szekely. I work at North Kent College as Marketing and Communications Assistant, and I completed my digital marketing apprenticeships for 18 months.
Thank you all. Now, before I ask questions, does anyone have any questions to get us going? I'll throw it out to you, or shall I warm you up first? I'll warm us up. I came prepared. So, let's start with Hannah. We'll go back along with the mic. So, what made you choose university? So, you went to school locally?
Yes, so I completed my A-levels at MGS, so just across the town. So I think for me, kind of being at a grammar school doing the whole sixth form A-level stuff, it was kind of as if university was the only route. Apprenticeships, things like that weren't necessarily talked about. And I think for me as well, I did really want to go down the university route. I thought, oh, it'd be such a great achievement if I could go and get a degree, like almost prove something to myself. But also, I initially was actually going to do sports therapy, and it wasn't until about 2 weeks that I was meant to leave to go and do my degree that I thought, hang on a minute, this isn't right for me. I don't feel ready to go to uni. I'm not convinced that's what I want to do. So ended up doing a gap year, did a bit of work, found out, did some proper research into what's available, because I didn't really know about marketing when I was doing my A-levels. And it was only until that I actually sat down properly, did some research, found out what I liked, what I thought I could be good at, that I thought, oh, I'm going to go down the advertising and marketing route. So for me, it was kind of like I did always want to go down that route, and I thought university is a good way to find out what career I wanted to do, because I wasn't 100% sure on the exact career that I wanted initially. So yeah, I guess that's
Brilliant.
kind of my route into it.
And then Mike, all the way to the other side to Becky. What made you choose an apprenticeship?
It was really strange because I always knew that I didn't want to go to university. It was just something that didn't interest me at all. Like at school, I didn't mind learning from the textbook, but it wasn't my favourite thing. And I did arts and graphics, which was creative, and that was just sort of how my brain functioned, which was more like practical and like hands-on skills. So after sixth form, I went and worked with my dad for a bit, and I went to the North Kent College Open Day, and I went to the apprenticeship team. And I was looking at digital marketing anyway, because I like social media, we use it every day, and it was just kind of a no-brainer. And when I went there, they had an apprenticeship for digital marketing, and I just went for it.
Fantastic, brilliant. And then Russell, so what benefits do you see from going to university and for students? What does a university offer other than just the degree?
Well, obviously the main point of going to university is to get the academic knowledge and, you know, to really become skilled and experienced in your field you want to get into. But university also has other aspects as well. So you have opportunities to maybe go and study abroad, to work in industry, to, as you heard before, really find out if a chosen career is right for you. And there's also a social side of university as well. So you can meet new people, you can network, you have opportunity to take part in sports clubs, societies, and really widen the audience who you're participating with.
Fantastic. And also, I know universities are doing a lot more now with employers. So we do a lot with the University of Kent with the employability points scheme. So they're helping to try and get students out into employers as well, to be gaining work experience alongside the academic studies that they're doing. So that's brilliant as well. And Oliver, so benefits of doing an apprenticeship, like tell us a bit about apprenticeships and how they work for those that might not know.
Well, apprenticeships essentially are a job. First and foremost, so you have to be employed for a minimum of 30 hours or more, and each apprenticeship has to last for a minimum duration of 12 months. So first it's a job, you are placed with an employer, or you apply to an employer, and then you learn while you're on the job as well. So there's a lot of myths around apprenticeships that they're only in certain sectors or industries, but now if we include those that are in development, we're looking at nearly 600 different job roles that are available for you to apply to in terms of apprenticeships. And in terms of levels, they go all the way up to degree and then master's level as well. So a huge benefit, and when you're looking at apprenticeships versus university, is the fact that actually all universities now are also apprenticeship providers, so you can still get that degree education via the apprenticeship route, but you won't need to go to the same levels of debt. I think the average is about 50 to 53,000 for a 3-year degree down the university route. And of course, because it is a job, you're being paid. Apprenticeship salaries typically start a bit lower because you're going in with very little or no experience. You've got to earn while you learn on the job. But you can still then progress through, often quicker down a set pathway if you're specialising in one area, and gain the qualifications as well as earning as well. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and it's really something that we've seen a lot of investment go into, and employers really swinging it slightly from graduate over to apprenticeship recruitment in modern times, while still getting the university education as well.
And where do the students start? Do they start with someone like yourself at an apprenticeship provider, or do they find the company? How does that work?
So because, as I said at the start, an apprenticeship is a job, there's two places I would look really. If you're looking on a local level, I would start now in the sixth form. You can go onto the government website, you can put in different search criteria, put in your postcode and see what opportunities are available now. So that will give you an indication of the types of companies that recruit locally, what are they paying, what are the job roles, what's the qualifications that you'll be able to achieve, and what's attached to that. And also maybe case studies, or speak to them about progression routes there as well, because it's vitally important that if you're going into a career, you want to see progression for yourself. If you're looking further afield and to London, then a lot of the larger employers will run assessment cycles similar to graduate recruiters. So there's information on their websites. They'll tell you about how to apply at a certain time of year. And if you look at, say, I don't know, financial sector, for example, they've been leading the way with this. Barclays have over 1,000 apprentices. And they'll have thousands of applicants. It's hugely competitive, and whittle it down as you go. But that's the type of thing you want to start looking at now, depending on where you want to base yourself geographically.
Fantastic, thank you. And Russell, from a university point of view, how important is it, the course versus the actual university that you're studying at?
I think the most important thing when making your decision about, once you've decided you want to go to university, is to really do your research and make sure you be comfortable first and foremost with the course content. You don't want to go somewhere, study courses, and decide this content really isn't for me. So make sure you do your research, go onto university websites. They all have their different modules. You can see either what's compulsory or what's optional for you to select. With regard to where you actually go to study for university, you've got two really big decisions. Do you want a campus environment when everything is all located on one site? Lots of students enjoy that sort of environment. Or do you want the city approach? So maybe Manchester, universities in London, where you have to go around the city to different locations. Lots of students enjoy that environment as well. Once you've sort of decided, do I want the campus or the city institution, you can kind of whittle down to different university options and decide on course content then.
Fantastic, thank you. And Hannah, so debt was mentioned. I don't like asking people about debt, but I'm going to ask you about your debt. Is it affecting you? Are you?
I think for me, it's not. Luckily, I can say it's not. I know a lot of people do get quite worried about it. I think if you are considering university, but the whole debt situation is worrying you, I often listen to or read up on the Martin Lewis Money Expert Guides, and he talks a lot about university debts and basically saying it's the cheapest loan that you'll ever get, and to look at it more as an extra tax when you come out of university. So rather than paying 20% tax, you'll be paying 29% tax. And also, I guess, they've made it better in the sense that you don't start paying back your student loan until you earn 25,000 and over. So I guess you've got a bit of leeway if you do come out of university and you're not going straight onto a salary of that point. But for me, definitely, it's not something that majorly concerns me. It's kind of in the background, and
it was well worth it, was it?
Yeah, it was worth it. So yeah,
which is important. And I guess coming along to Becky, from doing an apprenticeship, there wasn't any debt, I guess, because you were able to work as you were learning.
So with the apprenticeship route, I got a salary, which was great. And the good thing is, going from sixth form, I'm obviously doing the subjects that I like, but as a progression route, I started earning money straight away. So I don't have to worry about debt in the back of my mind or anything like that. And it's just something that I don't have to worry about. I can just start with my CV. I'm already gaining experience whilst earning my qualification.
Fantastic.
So it's just a win-win.
And did you stay in the job that you did while you were doing your apprenticeship?
Yes, I did.
Brilliant. So it was kind of, and was that a known thing, or was it maybe at the end you might have to go and find a different job, or was it a guaranteed?
It wasn't guaranteed, but as I was getting closer towards the end, a new job specification was being put together, so it was just me signing it and agreeing to stay on, which is what I wanted to do. But it's still good to just be prepared and look elsewhere as well on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I guess from an employer point of view, they'd be mad if they've spent a year, 2 years, 3 years doing an apprenticeship with you to then say goodbye to you. And it was the same situation with Hannah doing her year placement with us. It was kind of, we'd spent a year with her doing amazing work. Why are we going to let someone else have her? We want her to come back when she finishes her degree. How was that for you, Hannah, doing that year placement? And I know we didn't want you to go.
Yeah.
We were like, stay.
I think for me, it was the most valuable part of doing a university degree. I think so many people nowadays do have a degree that you need something that sets you apart from others. So if you do have the opportunity to do a placement year or an internship, then really do it. I was lucky enough to do a 6-month internship in my second year whilst at uni, then obviously went to Reflect to do my placement year, and you just learn the skills that you're not going to learn at university. And unfortunately, the modules now at university just can't keep up with the rate that digital marketing is changing. So they are often quite out of date. So you need something like a placement year where you can gain experience that is actually going to really support you when you do finish university and go out and try and look for a job. And obviously, a really good benefit for me is that I did literally come out of university and fell straight into a job, which I know a lot of my friends at uni really struggled with. But likewise, those that did go and do a placement year, they were also really lucky that they could also go out straight from uni and land themselves a job. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits from doing a placement year or an internship. So yeah, it makes university a lot more worthwhile, from my opinion.
And I guess where the course content doesn't always stay up because the industry moves so quickly, you're still learning really great skills, though, that then you were able to apply.
Yeah, definitely.
And theory
I think
that doesn't change.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially like your first and second year, you do learn a lot of the theory side of things, and then more what I noticed in my third year, that I was actually learning some of the things that I'd learned in my placement. So, for example, things like SEO and PPC started cropping up, and I thought, oh, that's really cool, like I've already got a bit of background knowledge on that. So it also really helped me in my third year. But again, it's something that I could take on with me once I'd finish, and then I can apply that in what I do now.
Definitely. And another benefit Hannah had, because she was so good, she carried on working with us while she was at uni,
Yes,
remotely.
I did.
So she was getting paid to do hours from university, which was good.
Brilliant.
So all these options are open. Employers will often, like, if you've made yourself invaluable to them, they're not going to want you to stop doing everything. Before I carry on, has anyone got questions? So have we got any hands up? Yeah, we've got one over here, and we've got one at the back. I'm going to start here, and then I'll come to the back.
So my question is for Becky. For the students here, could you tell us how difficult your search for an apprenticeship was, and whether this was the first apprenticeship that you found that you got secured, that you secured it?
With finding an apprenticeship, it was quite difficult because when we was leaving sixth form, straight away when the first year started, there was like, log on to UCAS, you're going to apply to go to university, and I just refused to do it. I was like, I'm not doing it. So I was looking online, and it's kind of like a blur. Everything's just sort of looks the same, and like you click on it, and like it's kind of all similar. But where North Kent College is local to me, I like researched, and there was like the apprenticeship department. So I just thought I'd go along, check it out, and they had an apprenticeship that I wanted. So even if you're not sure, or if there is open days, it's just good to go along and see what there is there, because you might find something that you didn't have in mind, but it might be suited to you. And it's just good to apply for it anyway, because then you get the whole interview experience, and you can just learn from it and like be prepared for the next one.
Did you apply for many apprenticeships?
Pardon?
Did you apply for many?
No, that was the first one I applied for.
Oh, wow.
And I got it, which was lucky.
That's very good.
Amazing, lovely. Right, I'm going to run to the back. Who was the lady at the back? There she is. I'm coming.
When would you say is like the best time to apply for apprenticeships for September?
Sorry, so the best time to apply?
Yeah, if looking for kind of the September coming.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it depends, again, on the companies you're looking at, but I would start to look at the types of companies and types of industries you want to work in, see if there's any information there, and following up from what Mark said, start to use LinkedIn, connect with people, send emails out, because apprenticeships, especially on a local level, are jobs. They will just spring up all the time, and they won't necessarily say, okay, we're going to start everyone off in September. But if you've put yourself forward, maybe sent a CV and or said to them, are you likely to have any vacancies, are you interested, then you can open that dialogue. I think it's only when you start to get to the larger employers of a certain size that they will have set recruitments, and that might be linked to you then studying with a college or with a university, so they would be September starts. So this time of year is ideal to kind of scout through and look at them, look at the top 100 apprenticeship employers, work down from there, look at who's recruiting in your industry, and try and see if they've got any information on their websites.
Definitely. And to add to that, I guess if you're asking for work experience from businesses, if you can get in there, there's a good chance. I mean, Sophie did work experience with us, and we wanted to hire her off the back of that. So we then would have considered trying to find an apprenticeship that might have worked. At the moment, we haven't gone down that route, but it's just start connecting with some businesses and showing how keen and awesome you are, and they'll start wanting to work with you. I saw another hand go up here. I'm going to come with the mic.
Does the application process vary from company to company? And Becky, for you, how did the application process work?
Thank you. So I had my CV ready like when I was at sixth form, just because I knew that I didn't want to do the whole UCAS thing. So when I applied, they have like their own boxes already on the website. So it was just kind of taking my information from my CV that was relevant and then like pasting it in. And then I applied, and then I waited for my interview email, and then I went along and they also had my CV there as well. So some of the questions were slightly different, but if you like have your CV ready, most of the time the questions or like the little boxes are pretty similar.
Any other questions out here? Another one at the back.
For jobs in London, like how necessary are degrees, or is there a lot of apprenticeship routes for London jobs?
I think wherever you're going to apply for employment after university, if you're going through a graduate scheme, we've heard earlier that there are, I think the last figures showed there's, for every graduate placement, there's 65 applicants. So you really do have to start thinking about how can I separate myself from the pack, what's my brand, what do I offer, which is different from all of these other applicants as well. It is really important to remember that as well as the sort of academic education you're getting at university, you're also getting lots of help from support staff as well, from careers and employability staff. Certainly at the University of Kent, we have an employment fair every year where graduate employers will come in and speak to our students, and they can start making those connections and potentially find employment after university as well.
And I'll just add to that, in terms of apprenticeship opportunities and vacancies, there's now more available in London than there ever has been before. And as I say, you can go through the government sites, you can search by industry, by profession, or if you just went to, say, Sky's website, they'll have information on there both about their graduate recruitment and their intakes and how to apply, hints and tips, case studies, and the same for their apprenticeship intake, which is now quite considerable. So it's worth looking at both options.
Cool. Any other questions? I'll go back to my bit of paper if not. I definitely have questions. No one else? Right, back to my paper. Who are we going to go to? Becky, one for you. Was it hard to convince your family regarding an apprenticeship? Because it's still not, I suppose lots of people expect university route. Was it difficult?
It wasn't difficult at all. Is this on?
Yeah.
Yep, sorry. So when it came to like making the choice for my next step, my parents obviously knew like how I felt about uni, and they even mentioned apprenticeships route because they knew that I was creative and I like the practical side of things. They recommended to do an apprenticeship, and my dad did an apprenticeship as well. But with like my family and stuff, they never pressure me to go to uni or do employment. They're always supportive like with what I want to do, which is really nice. So when I did apply for it, like they more convinced me to do it. So I didn't have any problems with like going like a different way to how most people do it. And the thing is, like, I feel like university is sort of the next step that is pushed forward to students because it's the most typical one. But it's okay to not go where everyone else does, because I found that with myself doing apprenticeship, like I'm ahead of people in my year who have like gone to study art at university because they haven't got any experience. They're just doing coursework, which is fine, but it's kind of difficult with art to have the next step after going to uni.
Yeah, definitely. And Russell, to come to you just from a university point of view, how many degrees, and you might not know the exact answer to this, this is left field, this wasn't on the list, but how many do have the option of doing the placement year like Hannah did? Because as an employer, that was really valuable for us, not only because we hired her, but if I was just looking at a CV, I would look at that and go, this is great, this person's academically awesome, they've got their degree, but wow, they also did a year in a company starting to get those skills that you only get when you're in a workplace. So do you know how many?
Well, in total in the UK, there's over 50,000 degree programs. At the University of Kent, we have over 400 programs, and the majority of those will have the option of either the year in industry, so working for the year, or to either study or work abroad as well.
Amazing.
So at the moment, because of, with degree apprenticeships on the rise, universities really want to give students the opportunity to get the extra experience so that they are benefited after university.
Exactly, and I know Kent's brilliant in that you've got an innovation hub as well where people are starting their own businesses and things like that. So there is a lot of support when you're at university on the entrepreneurial side. I know I've done lots of talks at university to help get people excited and thinking about what they might do there. And Hannah, how did you know university was right for you? It was that year out that you took to think about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that year out for me was really valuable. I think not everybody is ready to go to uni straight from finishing school. I know I definitely wasn't. So for me, that year out was literally all about finding my feet, discovering really what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to uni just for the sake of going to uni. I wanted to go to uni and get a degree in something that I enjoyed and knew that I wanted to pursue after I'd finished doing it. So yeah, and that's really important. I think a lot of people go to uni because they think, oh, it's great social life, get lots of days off, lay-ins, that kind of thing. But it's just a waste of time if you go with that mentality. You do really need to go with an aim of getting a good degree at the end of it and then putting it to good use afterwards.
Definitely. Any more questions? We've got a couple of minutes left. Are there any hands up? No. Go back to my list. And with an apprenticeship, it doesn't cost anything, does it? It doesn't cost the individual doing it anything, does it?
No, there's no cost to the individual whatsoever, and it's heavily subsidised for employers as well, which is why we're seeing more and more of these opportunities come about.
Fantastic. And and Russell, back to the question I guess we were kind of talking about earlier, from the courses point of view at university, keeping them up to date and everything, how is that kind of happening in practice? Because I guess everything is moving so fast. Like, it's not a fault of the university or of schools or of anyone, because the world is moving faster than it ever has.
Yeah, it is very tricky, especially with digital. As you said earlier, things change. After 3 months or so, things could be obsolete. It is quite tricky with universities because essentially when a student comes to university, because of CMA laws, they are signing up to complete a specific course, and we have to advertise our modules in advance. So we have to teach the students those modules. Having said that, our academics do keep up to date with changing environments, particularly with the digital sort of sector, and they do try and incorporate those changes into their teaching within our module framework.
Yeah, and I've seen the academics do that as well. They've invited us in to talk about things as well that are moving and changing, because it is difficult. Textbooks, the second it's printed, is probably out of date in digital because things are moving. So, no, that's good. I just wanted to make sure, because for me, both routes are an awesome route, and it's really trying to work out what's right for you, and if either of them are right for you. I didn't do either. I just started working. So it's finding what's best for you and what's going to be the right route. Have we got any other questions before we finish up for a break? Oh, we've got one. Brilliant. I'm coming to you.
Regarding the work placement, is it easy to find it or is it hard?
It is very difficult, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes, like, you're applying for absolutely ages, like you'll do crazy amounts of applications and you could get rejected from a large majority of those, or you could get shortlisted for assessment centres. It is quite a tough process, because if you think about the number of universities that there are in the UK and the amount of students that are also battling for that placement position, it is very, very competitive. But my university were very supportive in that they set up a lot of workshops that would help you build your CV. They had really good contacts with some great organisations, like companies like Estée Lauder, L'Oreal, Disneyland. Like, you had some great organisations that you had the opportunity to work with. But you have to be willing to put the effort into these applications, because they are time consuming. You have to do a lot of psychometric tests as well. So I think I was really lucky in that I was local to Reflect Digital, and I could send Becky a message and say, are you willing to have a chat with me? I'd really like to do a placement year here. So for me, it was quite a simple process, but I know if you are going to reach out to organisations that are putting applications up online, that it is a difficult process and you have got to put the time and effort into doing it.
And I think I'd just add to that obviously the big companies are going to be really competitive, Disney and people like that. But actually the smaller companies, like ourselves, so we were lucky, Hannah was our second or third placement student, so we'd done it before. But actually, if you're outreaching to smaller local businesses, in your covering email or your covering letter, I'd almost kind of just explain to them what it is you're looking for. Because if they've not ever had a placement student, they might not actually know what this means. So you're kind of saying, can I come and work with you? And if they've not ever worked with the university before or ever done it, they might be thinking, oh God, that sounds like hassle. But actually, it's the easiest thing. Like, I think we had one meeting with your tutor across the whole year. You just had a bit of work you had to do on top of it. But otherwise, we had a full-time employee for that whole year. And we paid them a salary, so obviously it cost the business something. But wow, we're getting someone that's fresh out of university with new ideas, and it was brilliant. And you're obviously not paying the highest of salaries because they are not fully skilled at that point. They're going through the learning process still. So I think sometimes it's making that bit clear because an employer might not know, so then you might kind of get dropped to a bottom of a pile because they don't really know what you want from them. So getting your university to help you craft that information would be really useful.